Hi, Sunwerte here. Welcome back to Occult Echoes, where we explore how the shadows of classic occult literature continues to manifest in modern fiction. Today, we turn our attention to Nowhere Burning by Catriona Ward, a novel that blends psychological horror, modern myth, and something far older, something rooted in place itself. There's a particular kind of horror that doesn't announce itself through ritual or doctrine. It doesn't rely on incantations or secret societies. Instead, it exists in places. Places that feel wrong. Places that remember. In Nowhere Burning, that place is nowhere. A secluded valley hidden high in the mountains, cut off from the outside world by walls of rock. A place where people have come and gone for centuries, but never happily and never for long. Its most infamous inhabitant was Leaf Wenham, a reclusive movie star who built Nowhere House as a refuge from fame and, as it's later revealed, as a cover for something far more sinister. When the house burns, it exposes a truth beneath the soil. The graves of young men who would never return home. Already, Ward is invoking something deeply familiar within the occult tradition, the idea that the land itself can become tainted, that trauma can seep into a place and linger long after the original acts have been forgotten. Years later, Nowhere takes on a new mythology. It becomes a rumour, a whispered sanctuary for runaway children, a place where adults cannot follow, a place where the lost can belong. And it's this promise that draws 14-year-old Riley, who takes her younger brother Oliver into the night in search of something better, something safer, something like home. But as with all places shaped in myth, Nowhere offers sanctuary at a cost. What makes Nowhere Burning such a compelling entry into the modern occult fiction is how it reframes the idea of possession and control. This isn't a story about demons in the traditional sense. There are no circles drawn in chalk, no invocations spoken aloud. Instead, the possession is environmental. The valley itself exerts influence. The past presses in on the present, and the children who arrive seeking refuge begin to lose their sense of self, not through force, but through belonging. This taps into a deeply unsettling concept that safety, when offered unconditionally, can become its own kind of trap. In classic occult literature, we often see individuals seduced by power, by knowledge, by forbidden rituals. Here, Ward shifts that dynamic. Her characters are not seeking power, they're seeking protection. And in doing so, they become vulnerable to something far more insidious. There's also a strong thematic thread here around childhood and autonomy. Nowhere is a world without adults, a place where children create their own rules, their own hierarchies, their own understanding of survival. On the surface, it feels liberating. But beneath that freedom lies something darker, the absence of structure, of accountability, of reality itself. Ward explores how easily a sanctuary can become a system of control, how myths are created not just to explain the world, but to maintain an order within it. In that sense, Nowhere Burning feels like a modern echo of older occult narratives where belief shapes reality. But instead of ancient gods or hidden cults, the belief system here is built by children, fragile, desperate, and dangerously malleable. Stylistically, Ward leans heavily into atmosphere and psychological tension. Like many of the great works in occult fiction, the horror here is not always explicit. It emerges gradually, through suggestion, through unease, through the slow realization that something is fundamentally wrong. This aligns her work with a lineage that includes writers like Shirley Jackson and Robert Aikman, authors who understood that the most effective horror doesn't always reveal itself. It lingers, it unsettles, it resists clear definition. And that's exactly what Nowhere Burning achieves. In the context of Occult Echoes, this novel represents a fascinating evolution of the genre. If earlier works in the occult canon focused on ritual, theology, and external forces, Ward brings the focus inward, into the psyche, into memory, into the way environments shape identity. The occult here is not something summoned, it's something inherited, something embedded in the land, in the stories we tell ourselves about safety and belonging. So if you're drawn to horror that lingers, that doesn't just frighten but unsettles on a deeper level, Nowhere Burning is essential reading. It's a story about refuge and ruin, about the cost of belonging, and about the quiet, persistent darkness that can take root in the places we trust the most. I'm Saul Muerte. The Echo continues. Ancient Shadows, Modern Stories.